Today on Rappler. A Rappler investigation finds President Marcos's aide and alleged bagman Jojo Cadiz has ties to a public works contractor in Ilocos Norte. The ICI recommends corruption charges against several officials, including former Senator Bong Revilla and an alleged bagman of Senator Cheese Escudero. Advocacy groups warn corruption could hinder the Philippines from meeting its higher targets for cutting greenhouse gas emissions. ABS-CBN confirms rumors that TV5 plans to terminate their content supply agreement due to financial problems. And French star Matthew Perry's doctor is sentenced to prison for his death from ketamine overdose. A Rappler investigation finds Justice Undersecretary Jose Jojo Cadiz Jr., a trusted aide of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., is closely linked to a construction firm that has won more than 200 million pesos worth of infrastructure projects in Ilocos Norte in just the last 2 years. Zaldico, the former lawmaker accused of massive flood control corruption, earlier said Cadiz is the president's bagman. The company in question, JSJ Builders, was incorporated in 2023 by Cadiz's son, who is currently the company's beneficial owner. That was a year after Marcos became president in June 2022. The Constitution prohibits an undersecretary from being directly or indirectly financially interested in a government contract. This just as Marcos tells reporters his administration plans to end abuse and entitlement in the government.
I knew that what we were starting would really be disruptive and but we are trying precisely to change the entire system. And when you have to excise a cancer out of such a complicated system, you need to do some very major surgery. And to do that, and when you do that, you will bleed. And that is what we had to go through.
The president's son, Ilocos Norte lawmaker and House Majority Floor Leader Sandro Marcos, appeared before the Independent Commission for Infrastructure on Thursday, December 4. But he asked for a closed-door session so his response to corruption allegations could not be live-streamed. He spoke to reporters after the session.
Again, andito ako to lend anything that I know to aid the ICI in their investigation. As I said, wala po akong tinatago, so I am happy to assist them in any way, shape, or form.
He denies allegations he made illicit last-minute insertions to the national budget. For more on this story, log on to Rappler.com and subscribe to Rappler Plus. The Independent Commission for Infrastructure recommends criminal and administrative complaints against former Senator Bong Revilla, Maynard Ngu, and 8 others. Ngu is the alleged bagman of Senator Cheese Escudero. Others on the list are Carlene Villa, staff of former Senator and now Makati City Mayor Nancy Binay; DPWH NCR Regional Director Gerard Opulencia; DPWH South Manila District Engineer Manny Bulusan; DPWH official Ruel Umali; DPWH Mimaropa Regional Director Jean Ryan Alurin Altea, and a certain J.Y. De La Rosa, a certain Mrs. Patron, and a certain Carlo Aguilar. Direct or indirect bribery, corruption of public officials, plunder, and administrative sanctions are among the charges the ICI recommends. ICI Chairperson Andres Reyes says Wednesday, December 3, the testimony of former DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo served as a basis for this recommendation to the Office of the Ombudsman. Revilla denies being involved in the corruption scandal. His spokesperson and lawyer, Maria Carissa Ginto, says her client was willing to appear before the ICI but was never invited. Advocacy groups warn corruption may hinder the Philippines from achieving its increased targets in cutting greenhouse gas emissions. The country is proposing reductions of 10% to 20%, much higher than the less than 3% stated in the country's nationally determined contribution. The new target was presented to civil society groups on Wednesday, December 5. However, several groups tell Rappler they were not properly consulted even before the climate talks in Brazil began. Action Klima Pilipinas National Coordinator John Leo Algo says the expected higher cost of efforts to meet the much higher targets leaves no room for errors, especially those caused by corruption or inaction. The Philippines is party to the Paris Agreement, which requires it to pledge to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. ABS-CBN confirms rumors that TV5 plans to terminate their content supply agreement due to financial problems. Reports say ABS-CBN owes TV5 1 billion pesos, but ABS-CBN tells the Philippine Stock Exchange in a disclosure the amount and other details are under dispute. ABS-CBN denies it willfully delayed payment and asks TV5 for understanding and more time to meet its obligations. ABS-CBN lost its lucrative broadcast franchise over 5 years ago when Rodrigo Duterte was president. Since then, ABS-CBN has pivoted to being a content provider to its former competitors, including TV5 and GMA. Under the agreement, ABS-CBN was supposed to supply TV5 with shows for its weekday and weekend primetime slots. But despite the pivot, the company continues to operate at a net loss owing to the shutdown of its broadcast operations. ABS-CBN says it will find ways to still reach its audience should its partnership with TV5 be terminated. TV5 says it values its partnership with ABS-CBN, but it needs the money too. It says ABS-CBN has failed to pay its dues on time or give assurance that it can or will do so. California-based Dr. Salvador Plasencia is sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for illegally supplying Friends star Matthew Perry with ketamine. Ketamine is the powerful sedative that caused the actor's drug overdose death in 2023. Plasencia pleaded guilty before a federal court in July to 4 felony counts of illegal distribution of the prescription anesthetic. In his plea agreement, Plasencia admitted that he had injected Perry with ketamine on multiple occasions at the actor's home. Perry had publicly acknowledged decades of substance abuse, even during his years playing Chandler Bing in the hit sitcom Friends. Federal law enforcement officials said Perry had been receiving ketamine infusions for depression and anxiety treatment at a clinic where he became addicted to the drug. And that's today's wrap. I'm JC Gotinga. Thank you for watching. Click the link below for the full story. For more updates, download the wRap.